Hey, Randy, how are you?
I'm doing great. I hope you are.
Yeah, good to be here sitting with you, having a good conversation. So welcome to our third episode of Covered, where we are sheltering you with roofing knowledge.
Awesome. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, Randy, you are project manager here at 5 Star Roofing.
Yes, sir.
And you've been with us for a good while now, right?
Pretty much ever since it started. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So back in 2019.
Yep. 5 years strong.
I know. That's awesome. So, time flies, right?
Yes, sir.
So is that what they say? When you're having fun, time flies.
For sure.
So, well, tell us a little bit about your family.
So I recently got married 3 years ago to my high school sweetheart, Nicole Hopkins, and we just had our beautiful little girl, Lillian, back in July last year.
Okay.
She's got a birthday coming up in a few months.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Man, again, time flies.
Yes, sir.
She walking yet?
Not yet. She's standing up, but
okay.
She falls back down. I say within a couple of weeks she should be walking.
I got you. You guys talking about another one yet?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet? I know y'all want one, though. I know you want one. So, so your title here is a project manager. You're our senior project manager. We have some other ones as well, so you kind of oversee the couple of the other guys. So what we're going to do today is just kind of dive into like your specific responsibilities, kind of your challenges that you kind of face day to day, and kind of painting a clearer picture for the homeowners once a contract comes in, exactly what happens behind the scenes and kind of what they can expect, like at the day of install and leading up to the install, and also like after the install, like exactly what happens. Okay. But before we get into that, I got to just kind of brag on you just a little bit, man, because like you are just an incredible human being, outside of work, of course in work as well.
Appreciate that.
And I think every single year we have our annual awards at our Christmas party.
Yes, sir. And
you have been winning the Employee of the Year, and that is an awesome award. That is from everybody, the whole entire team. We asked them like, hey, you guys nominate somebody that you would consider being Employee of the Year, and I think you've won it every single time because like you go out of your way to make sure that you help everyone. Here, also the homeowners, and I know you got a heart for people and try to do things always the right way and that kind of thing. So man, we really appreciate you.
I appreciate it. At the end of the day, we are one team, one vision. I know we talk about that a lot.
Yep.
I will always try to go above and beyond because I treat every homeowner as they are family. Same thing. Everybody works here, to me they're family. Where I can assist at, I want to assist, and anybody I touch, I want to make them better, train them throughout, no matter what kind of they're dealing with in their lives. So
yeah, man, I was just thinking about even before we rolled with this recording here, how many phone calls you got from one of our field guys, and you're like always answering your phone, and I'm like, hey, we're getting ready to start this recording, man. We got to cut the phone off for a second,
Well, I've been there when you need help and nobody's answering the phone, so I at least always try my best to help, no matter what. Well, sorry to my wife because I know I take a lot of late night phone calls sometimes, but I still love you. I know you know that.
Well, it's noticed, man. You really do go out of your way to make sure everyone is taken care of. So, all right, well, let's just kind of dive in. Can you explain to our listeners what the process is like once we get a contract in for both retail contracts and also insurance contracts?
Yep. So normally the contracts are pretty similar. The only difference really between insurance and retail is obviously insurance is involved, and normally I go through all the contract, the scope of work, find out exactly what we're doing. And if it's on the insurance side of things, I see if there's anything that has been left off the scope of work. I know sometimes when it's a wind claim, they may not cover the flashings. But I do feel like the flashings are important part of the process after a roof is installed. Because any exposed flashing, I would 100% recommend that being replaced because it is outside in the elements, which eventually over time will wear anything that's siding or goes underneath wood or stone. That's usually protected pretty good, not so much needing to be replaced. But if the flashing is exposed, I would 100% recommend replacing that. Sometimes during a hailstorm, the homeowners may have gutter guards that are left off or gutters that were damaged that wasn't approved. Sometimes the shingle count could be short. I just try to make sure that what the homeowner originally has now, the insurance is paying to recover everything that was damaged.
And that's conversation that I oftentimes have with homeowners as well, is like our job as a contractor is to make sure that we are rebuilding their new roof according to current codes. And without getting into the weeds, but every policy has what's called code coverage. A lot of homeowners probably aren't aware of what that is. So if you are listening to this and you're kind of curious if your policy has code coverage, then you should call your agent and find out, because you definitely want to have that coverage on your policy, because that just means that they will then pay for you to have, for example, like ice and water if it's code, or if drip edge is code for that particular county.
Yep.
If they have code coverage, then it would be taken care of by the insurance company, and that happens during the supplement process that you kind of work on as well.
Ice and water and drip edge, and sometimes OSB. If the decking, once we tear it off, is a quarter inch, too thin. Obviously, newer codes, you want something at least a half inch or more. So again, insurance will cover that if under code.
Okay.
And every county is pretty much differently.
So would you say that going through insurance because of the supplement process typically would take a little bit longer before we can install the roof, because we have to communicate with the insurance adjuster and wait for their response, than like a retail contract?
Yeah, I say normally about 1 to 2 weeks longer.
Okay.
Right now, normally our roof installs from time of contract signing to install date is about 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Depending on the insurance and how fast they reply back to us. Could be something minor. Normally that kind of rolls pretty quick. But again, if it's a larger supplement that we're asking for, it could take up to a week or two extra.
Yeah, and it definitely is frustrating sometimes. And I get it, like the insurance adjusters are really busy also.
Right.
So, I'm not like throwing shade at them, but it is kind of frustrating when, the homeowner wants to move forward with the project. Right. We want to move forward with the project, and, we're waiting to it depends on, how busy they are. It could be 2-3 weeks before we even hear back from the adjuster.
Right.
So we always try to include the homeowner in all the correspondence, the email, because at the end of the day, the adjusters are going to care about the homeowner, because they're the policyholder, right? Yeah, we're just the contractor. Yep. So talk to me about the most challenging things that you kind of face day to day.
I think communication. Obviously, I know we have salesmen. They kind of set the expectations.
Yep.
And then on our side of things, it's our job to deliver. Being with our production team to the crew, just keeping everyone 100% on the same page and happy. Okay. Obviously, weather sometimes can be a factor. Sometimes after a roof is torn off, we may have not seen something, or we come into something new that there's no way we would have saw unless the roof's off. So like damaged decking, sometimes it could lead down to the rafters being bad as well. That's when you start pulling permits and stuff like that.
Right. So how about the hours that you work? You're not working a typical banking 9 to 5, are you?
It's not a 9 to 5. Normally, you want to start your day around 7.
Okay.
And sometimes it can go 7 to 7. 7. Depends on when we finish the roof. We usually want to stay there until the job's 100% finished. Homeowners 100% happy. Man,
I think I've seen you in the office even before 7 o'clock sometime. Maybe it's just making your coffee, but you're definitely here pretty early, usually before everybody else. So, so as far as the cleanup on the property, that's very important for homeowners. So we have a ton of positive reviews from our customers that mention specifically that our crews did a phenomenal job with cleanup. But we've all heard the horror stories where some homeowners have had bad experiences because they will tell us up front, like, hey, we've done this before, and they've left a big mess, and so on and so forth. So why do you think for us we have such a good reputation with the cleanup?
Again, just comes down to customer service, something that we preach about a lot. After our roof has been installed, our crew, our sales go back around another time with a magnet, and then again with a magnet. And then the next day, we'll come back out and inspect the final roof. We'll do a pickup of any materials, and then also do another cleanup. You still may find nails. We tear off thousands, but we really emphasize cleanups because that is one of the high priorities of a roof install. And then so as far as like the landscaping and the side of the house, what things do we do up front to kind of prevent damage to the house and the shrubs and that kind of thing? So for the siding, we usually hang tarps or protect it that way for any kind of fallen shingles. It doesn't go back into the siding. And for bushes, we also put cover nets over. That way any kind of nails or debris that falls in stays on top of the net, doesn't get inside. We use the cover nets over a tarp, especially in the summertime, so it doesn't burn bushes. And we put a OSB or a pallet over top of AC units or any small shrubbery that could get damaged. And then other than that, if it's a walkable roof, we'll go ahead and stack the shingles on top of the roof and throw everything into the dumpster. That way nothing's really touching the ground.
Okay. Yeah. I know some of our crews, they'd like to tear off that way.
Yes, sir.
So I'm glad you brought up the AC units, because I know long ago when we first started, we've had, maybe an issue or two where granules, got into the AC unit. But since then, so right now, what exactly are we doing to make sure that does not happen?
We're putting a pallet over top of the AC unit. That way it can still breathe once the AC kicks on in the summertime.
Right, because you don't want to smother it.
Right. And then also on top of that, we're putting a sheet of OSB.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. Can you just kind of maybe walk me through step by step what happens when we schedule a job, from materials being dropped off to the house, and then when we actually go out and install the roof? So contract comes in, it goes through our office gal Zoe, and where she QCs the file, and then it gets over to you. You kind of look at it for supplementing opportunities or things of that nature. And then when you go to actually schedule it, so kind of take it from there. What happens?
Yep. So I'll look at the scope, the contract, and if a permit needs to be pulled, I'll go ahead and pull the permit. And then I'll pretty much create a work order that's going to tell our crew and our site supervisors of all the work that's going to be done on the property.
Okay.
And then I also create a material list, and that gets sent to our supplier.
Okay.
I usually deliver the materials a day prior. That way we have material on the ground when the crew shows up. I'm not worried about a truck breaking down or we got the roof tore off, weather's coming in. Usually materials on site before we show up.
Okay.
And after that, I call the homeowner and I let them know, hey, just want to let you know your materials will be delivered this day, and then your install will be this day. Normally installs are about 1 to 2 days depending on your size of the house.
Of the roof. Yeah.
And then a normal install day would be from 7 to probably 7, something like that.
Okay.
And then just see if they have any questions. If I have questions, we'll go ahead and go over their contract. Or just make sure everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
And then usually I schedule stuff about 2 weeks out. And after, like I said, after the roof's done, I'll have Hunter. So normally after the fact, he'll go back through, make sure the job is put on correctly, and do another final cleanup and final pickup of materials, and see if the homeowners have any questions. Okay. And we haven't had too many complaints here lately.
So tell me about the Fridays. I know that you kind of typically don't schedule on a Friday. You kind of hold that in case of a rain day or that kind of thing, right?
So Fridays I usually leave light for sure. One, it's a Friday for myself. But two, any kind of punch list items that might need to get done throughout the week, or if a homeowner comes in that has a leak, obviously I have Friday open. We can go ahead and throw them on for a Friday. Or like you said, if we have a rain day throughout the week, obviously Friday is a good opening.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it works out really good for scheduling.
And so you said typically though we're scheduled out about 2 weeks in advance, right?
About 2 to 3 weeks.
So if a homeowner is getting installed like on a Monday, then their materials will be there on Friday.
Correct.
So over the weekend, it'll sit in their driveway.
The only time I may schedule an early morning delivery for a job is if it has copper on the job, just because copper sometimes walks off our job sites.
Right. Yeah, very expensive material. Yes, and people like to take it and try to turn it in and get a little money, right?
Yes,
So what type of communication goes out to our customers to kind of keep them in the loop? I know you mentioned that you call them, right? And obviously if they don't pick up the phone, you probably leave them a message or text them or something like that. So is there any other form of communication that goes out to them, letting them know when their install is going to be happening?
So we also have the CRM, and once it's scheduled, it gets put on our calendar. An automatic message gets sent out to their email address, and also to the salesman. And then the salesman also calls the homeowner as well. And then a few days before the install, sometimes a day before, Zoe, again, she reaches back out to the homeowner just to kind of remind them, let them know, hey, material's getting dropped, and then your install is, tomorrow. Just going back to communication, right?
I think that's what happens a lot of time when people get upset, is just that lack of communication. So, we always preach, like, you can't possibly over communicate, just make sure that you are, putting as many messages or notes in the system as you possibly can, so everybody's in the loop and that kind of thing. All right, good deal. And I think you already mentioned this. So the average time frame for us to put on a new roof once we have the contract in, of course, depends on the size of the house, but it's typically 1 to 2 days.
1 to 2 days. Normally on like larger projects, maybe church or commercials, a lot of it is weather pending. It could go to a week. But normally for houses, I say 1 to 2 days is an average.
And then, so after the roof is put on, so what's like the end of the process?
So after the roof's done, again, we'll go back through and clean up that day, and the following day, I'll have someone come out there, do a final inspection of the work, make sure that everything was installed properly.
It's usually the day after?
Yep.
Okay.
Usually the day after. If it's finished on a Friday, it'll be a Monday.
Okay.
The next working day after, I should say. And then we'll pick up any kind of leftover materials. Usually I order a few squares extra for job sites because it's real tough for us to get a phone call after hours like, hey, I need an extra bundle. All the suppliers are closed. So I order a few squares extra. That way a homeowner could keep a bundle or two if they wanted to. And also to cover us if the crew needs a bundle or two short.
Right. Yeah, because depending on how far the job is, if they run out in the middle of the job, we might not be able to get the materials until the next day. You know, if they call us at 4:30, 5 o'clock because the supplier's already closed.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
And then, like I said, after we pick up the materials, do the inspection, we'll go back around and do another final cleanup.
Okay.
And if the homeowners are there, we'll talk to them, do a walk around with them, see if they have any questions.
Okay.
And after that's done, everything comes back to me. Everybody's satisfied. I then close that job out. And then that's when it goes back to Zoe for the final billing.
Okay. Yeah, and that's when we send the final invoice out. And then if it's an insurance project, then what we'll do is send our certificate of completion along with completion photos and the final invoice to the insurance company so that they will release that final payment to the homeowner.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yep. All right. Good deal. Well, anything else that you want to add to this episode?
Not really. I mean, I'm really blessed. 5-star has definitely changed my life, and I appreciate everything that I've learned here and just being around family.
Oh, man. You're being too nice.
Nah, I'm just serious.
Yeah, well, we love having you, man. You're awesome. Vital part of the team for sure. Yep. So without you, man, things will fall apart.
We're a team. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm just lucky to lead it.
Yeah, just like you said in the beginning of the podcast. One team, one vision, man.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Good deal. All right. Well, hey, thanks for spending some time with me, and hopefully this was helpful to the homeowners to understand kind of like the process of the install and kind of your responsibilities in that thing. So, all right. Until next time. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Hope this was helpful.